The audio file was only 14 seconds long, but it was enough to wipe $5 billion off the market cap in a single afternoon. It wasn't a boardroom recording or a leaked email. It was the sound of a main bearing disintegrating inside the engine block of a truck with less than 2,000 miles on the odometer. A metal-on-metal screech that sounds like a dying animal, followed by a catastrophic seize that locks the rear wheels at highway speeds. This isn't just a mechanical failure. This is the sound of an empire crumbling. For decades, the Toyota badge on a pickup truck was a promise written in steel. It meant you could drive to the moon and back. It meant the 5.7-liter V8 was immortal. But somewhere between the relentless pressure of APA regulations and the desperate race to modernize, Toyota blinked. They pushed all their chips, $12 billion of them, into the center of the table on a twin-turbocharged hybrid gamble called the Tundra. And right now, the dealer is sweeping the chips away. We have uncovered the forensic timeline of how the Kaizen philosophy of continuous improvement mutated into a rushed production schedule that allowed machining debris to contaminate the very heart of the V35 AFTS engine. This is not a story about a bad truck. This is an autopsy of corporate hubris. To understand the magnitude of this disaster, we have to go back to the San Antonio plant, deep inside the sterile, fluorescent-lit corridors where the decision was made to kill the king. The 3URFE V8 was a dinosaur, yes. It didn't feel like a cargo ship. But it never died. When the engineers proposed the switch to the V35A twin-turbo V6, the internal memos, which we have reviewed, spoke of efficiency, torque curves, and modernization. They did not speak of the microscopic metal shavings left over from the machining process of the engine blocks. This is the smoking gun. In a rush to meet the aggressive launch window for the third-generation Tundra, the cleaning protocols for the engine blocks were allegedly insufficient. These weren't boulders. They were particulates, invisible to the naked eye, lurking in the oil passages like a dormant virus. As soon as the customer drove off the lot, the oil pressure pushed these metal shards directly into the main bearings. It is a ticking time bomb. Every revolution of the crankshaft grinds the debris deeper into the soft bearing material until the clearance disappears, the oil film breaks, and the engine welds itself together from the inside out. The recall notice, when it finally dropped, was a legal document designed to minimize panic, but the mechanics on the ground tell a different story. We spoke with master technicians from 3 different states who described dealership lots overflowing with dead soldiers, brand new trucks, costing upwards of $70,000, sitting motionless, waiting for short blocks that didn't exist. The logistics of replacing thousands of engine blocks are a nightmare that Toyota is still waking up from. It involves lifting the cab off the chassis, a procedure that feels more like an open-heart surgery than a repair. And here lies the deeper betrayal. The Tundra buyer is a specific breed. They don't buy for flash. They buy for the apocalypse. They bought Toyota because they didn't want the lifter issues of a GM, or the cam phaser problems of a Ford. They paid the Toyota tax, the premium price over competitors, specifically for peace of mind. That social contract has been violated. When you look at the schematics of the I-Force Max hybrid system, it is a marvel of engineering complexity. A motor generator sandwiched between the engine and transmission, twin turbochargers managing extreme heat cycles, and a 10-speed automatic transmission. But complexity is the enemy of longevity. The more systems you introduce, the more points of failure you create. The wastegate failures were the first warning shot, electronic actuators sticking, causing loss of power. Toyota fixed that with a software update and part revisions. But you cannot software patch a spun bearing. You cannot download a fix for metal shavings in your oil gallery. This brings us to the financial black hole. Toyota has set aside hundreds of millions for this recall, but the true cost is the brand equity. The resale value of the 2022 and 2023 Tundras is facing extreme volatility. Who wants to buy a used truck that might need a cab-off engine replacement? The market is reacting with fear. We are seeing a migration of loyalists moving to heavy-duty diesels or holding on to their old V8s with a grip of death. The paradox is that the new Tundra drives beautifully. It has torque for days, the interior is a massive upgrade, and the tech is cutting edge. But in the truck world, capability is nothing without reliability. It's like a Navy SEAL who runs a 4-minute mile, but has a heart condition. You can't take him into battle. The investigation also points to a supplier issue, a breakdown in the vaunted Toyota supply chain management. Just as with the Takata airbags, relying on external partners for critical components introduces variables that even the strictest quality control can miss if the testing protocols are accelerated. And they were accelerated. The pressure to beat the Ford F-150 Power Boost to market was immense. Corporate espionage rumors suggest that Toyota executives were terrified of being left behind in the electrification race. Pushing the engineering teams to deliver the hybrid powertrain before the long-term durability testing was fully equivalent to the million-mile standards of the past. The result is a truck that is technically superior but practically compromised. As we look at the debris field of this PR disaster, we have to ask, is this the end of Toyota's dominance? Probably not. They are too big, too cash-rich, and too smart to die from one model. But the Tundra disaster is a scar. It is a reminder that the laws of physics and manufacturing do not care about your reputation. If you leave metal in the engine will die. It doesn't matter if the badge on the grille says Toyota, Mercedes, or Ferrari. The physics are undefeated. Now, thousands of owners are stuck in limbo, driving rental cars while their pride and joy sits in a service bay, guts spilled out on the concrete. The forums are on fire. The class action lawsuits are being drafted. And the silence from the executive suite in Japan is deafening. They know they messed up. They know that Recall 24TA07 is not just a code, it's a confession. A confession that they forgot who they were. They tried to be a tech company instead of a truck company. They chased the numbers and lost the soul. The fix involves replacing the entire engine short block, essentially the bottom half of the engine. This is not a simple swap. It requires unbolting the body from the frame, disconnecting every wire, hose, and line, and lifting the entire cabin into the air. It is invasive. And once a truck has been dissected like that, is it ever really the same? Can you trust the torque specs on every bolt retightened by a flat-rate technician rushing to beat the clock? These are the questions keeping owners awake at night. The tragedy is that the Tundra didn't need to be this complex. The loyalists would have accepted a modernized V8, or a simpler turbo setup. But the mandate for hybrid efficiency forced their hand. This is the hidden cost of the green revolution in the truck segment, forcing heavy-duty machines to adopt delicate technology. As we close this file, look closely at the next Tundra you see on the road. Don't look at the aggressive styling or the TRD Pro badging. Listen. Listen for the knock. Because beneath that sculpted hood lies a $12 billion gamble that didn't pay off. Toyota bet the farm on the V35A, and the house is winning. The question isn't if they will fix it, they will. The question is if you will ever trust them again.